Good morning, dear students. In today's class, I would like to discuss the topic subjectivity. We are discussing this topic under the chapter Language, Culture, and Identity. In my first class, I talked about language, culture, and identity, and we learned that how language operates as a powerful tool in defining someone's identity. We learned that language is not just a means of communication, it has a lot of other functions as well. Now, in today's class, I would like to draw your attention to another interesting concept, that is subjectivity. We will learn what we understand by the term and how the concept is associated with various other factors and so on. Now, let us first look at the term subjectivity. You should understand that subjectivity can be defined as a person's perception of the world. What do you mean by that? Imagine in a class of 43 students, each and every individual looks at the world in a different perspective. The one sitting next to you will have a very different worldview from that of yours. So why do we have different worldviews? Why people look at life from a different perspectives? We can say that it is because of his or her subjectivity. So in the contemporary social and cultural theory, we define subjectivity as the condition of being an individual. So subjectivity includes a person's feelings and beliefs. It determines your choices, your likes and dislikes, your personality traits, and so on. Remember, in one of our sessions, we talked about how taste is shaped. Remember, in that class, you mentioned that each individual has different tastes, and we learned that it's a social construct. Remember, one of our students mentioned that when you come to college, the ideas that you have gathered from your family settings may change, and it is because of the ideas that you gather from there. So what I'm saying is, your individuality, your subjectivity is defined or determined by people that you associate with. That means you are part of a power relations, and these power relations shapes your subjectivity. For example, Marxist perspective, they look at the term class. There may be the capitalist sections of society, and some people are the working class. And where do you belong? That determines your worldview as well. If you are the owner, if you are exploiting, your attitude will be different from that of an exploiter. So the network of power relations determines or shapes your individuality as well. Take, for example, in a family, that is also a power structure, where if you are a child, the power that you have, the control that you have, shapes your worldview. So I'm trying to simplify this idea. Remember, this is a very interesting and very serious topic that has been discussed thoroughly in the contemporary social and cultural theories. So what I'm saying is, we have to understand that our personal likes and dislikes are not something that develop all on a sudden in a one fine morning. This is very important that you need to remember this. Some may say that this is my personal choice. This is my decision. When you say that, you need to remember that there are certain things that shapes your decisions. The so-called individuality that you have is shaped by various factors. When you analyze this, you can have a broader perspectives about human beings. So imagine sometimes people behave in a different manner to different issues. That is because of the way that they have developed certain attitude towards that incident. So what I'm saying is, you have to understand that your personality traits, what determines your individuality, is not something that shapes all on a sudden, as I said, not in a fine morning. So we need to understand the factors that determines your subjectivity, and and the position that you hold in a network of relationship, and that will help you to understand the relationship between subjectivity and your identity. In today's theoretical perspectives, we say that identity is not something that is fixed. This is also a debatable topic. I'm not going into detail about this. Some people say that we have a fixed identity. For example, you are a girl, or you belong to different religion, you belong to different caste. So you have a particular identity that is fixed. And some people say that it is something that fluctuates. You cannot say that the identity is something that is fixed. We will have discussion on these things later on in our chapter itself. So my dear students, first of all, understand this concept of subjectivity. As I began in my session, in my talk, I said that it can be defined as a person's perception of the world, how you look at the world. It includes your feelings and beliefs. It can be defined as a condition of being an individual. And also we mentioned that it is shaped by various factors. The power structures that you are part of shapes your subjectivity, your individuality. And it has something to do with your identity as well. So we will discuss the relationship between identity and subjectivity, whether identity is something that is fixed or it changes or it fluctuates. All these topics will be discussed in detail. My dear students, as I said, these are all debatable and very live topic that we discuss in the academic circle. So as students as undergraduate students, what I'm trying to do here to initiate you to this discussion, and I hope this will help you to think deeply, or at least to start thinking about how your individuality is shaped. When you say that you are an individual, what kind of an individuality that you have? These are some questions that we need to ask. When I say you are an individual, your subjectivity is this and that, on what grounds I talk about it? Or can I examine your personality traits based on certain criteria? Also, my dear students, remember, subjectivity is a broader concept that includes one's perception about the world. I hope this short description will help you to have a understanding about topics at this topic. I hope we will have further discussions and you will have your own thoughts. And as students of humanities and higher education, you will start examining all these different dimensions of life. And as I always say, as students, we expect you to not to be a mere consumers of things that we share, but to look at things from a critical perspectives. I hope you will develop such an insight. Thank you very much